Welcome to Break Room Conversations. I am not Stephanie. I am actually Andi, and I will be the host today of Break Room Conversations. I will have Stephanie and Tatum joining me. Here comes Tatum. I'll go ahead and get Tatum on to this. Hello. Let's see. What's up? Welcome. Welcome. Let's see. There we go. So we're going to talk about AI today as these two are joining, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Hi, Tatum. Welcome.
Thanks. I'm also not Stephanie. I just wanted to announce that to everyone.
You're not Stephanie. Neither am I.
Weird.
Neither are you. And
Weird.
we should have Stephanie joining us any minute. I have to say, I haven't done an Instagram Live in quite a while. So as I was getting on, I was like, wow, this is the first time I've done this in quite some time. And I'm very much looking forward to the conversation that we're going to be having, which is how AI can be a support to salons and stylists.
Yeah, I'm excited too because you have a ton of information. And as some of you may know, I think AI is kind of cool and maybe not as scary as we think.
I think so too. Stephanie says she's trying to join us. So Steph, try again. We'll see if we can get you into the chat, into the conversation. And I suppose, Tatum, what would be a nice place for us to start? I could certainly start by talking about the way that I'm seeing AI working for creatives and especially stylists in this industry, owners as well. But maybe we need to start with a little bit of what exactly is AI? Would that be helpful, do you think?
I think let's just kind of, yes, because I think there's a lot of AI shows up in a lot of places. AI has kind of been with us for at least a decade, if not longer. But there's definitely a new conversation happening about AI. And although there's definitely, it is not completely innocuous. If someone chooses to use AI in bad ways, there are certainly ways to do things that aren't great. But we're talking about how to use AI to actually thrive and to grow businesses and to really, I think it's really about creating efficiencies. And it's like, I think about it like having a personal assistant in a way. I don't know if that's too narrow in scope, but how would you describe it to someone who might just be like, I've heard of AI, maybe I'm scared of it, maybe I don't care. How would you describe it?
Well, first I would ask someone who's thinking about how they could use AI, where do you typically fall on technology adoption curves? Do you typically fall on the front end where you consider yourself to be an innovator, you consider yourself to be an early adopter, or are you one of those people that's typically on that late majority side that's like, okay, I'll get on this app, I'll get on Instagram, I'll get on Facebook way back in the day. I will use the internet, but I am not so sure that it's necessarily going to be helpful to me. So I know we all fall in different areas of that. So I would check in with yourself first and just see, okay, where do I typically fall on the technology adoption scale? If you're not sure, check when you got an Instagram account, check when you got an iPhone, and check to see when you actually set up your salon website. If you were a little behind on those things, then you're probably on that later adoption scale on the curve, and you may need a little bit of just basics around AI to get started. And the AI that I think we could talk about today is really the large language models. So if you're wondering, well, what does that even mean? What's a large language model? We're talking about things like ChatGPT and Google Gemini, for example. Those are the models that are really great to use the way that you're talking about, Tatum, which is as an assistant, as some sort of efficiency tool. There's tons of AI out there that do all sorts of other things. I went to my doctor's office a few weeks ago and they were using some AI technology.
Yep, dentists using AI technology to read x-rays. Exactly. They still read the x-rays, but they use the AI, and it's not, and I'm like, okay, yeah. But let me say this, the dentist was like, it's going to be okay. Don't be afraid. Like the robots might break into the dentist's office any second and take us all away. And so, and I was like, no, I think AI is cool. It's fine.
Whatever, yeah, exactly. Hi, Steph. You're here. You're here.
You guys are doing a really good job.
Great.
Really, really good. Thank you.
Full disclosure, this isn't me. This is an AI version of me. I'm not even here. I'm the hologram.
And Tatum and I could talk about this all day, for sure.
I know. I mean, what bet? I mean, I was like, I don't even need to be on. This is fine.
Well, welcome. Would you like to host your show now?
I love it. I love it. Welcome everyone to Break Room Conversations. You guys, we have this is gonna be a really fun episode that we've already gotten started. All about AI. Andi, thank you so much for joining us. And Andi, for you guys that are watching, I mean, we'd be here all day going over your amazing resume. But she is really taking kind of like the leadership in helping all of us understand AI better in our business, especially in the salon business, which Andi is that's one of her very many specialties that she has. So I know you guys already started talking about what AI is. I mean, we all have it in our house. We have Alexa. Oops, sorry. She just went off as I said her name.
Don't turn her
Uh,
on. No, no.
well, she's listening. You know, we all have it in our house, and now it's coming into our businesses, you know, and I just want to know, like, what are you seeing out there? How is AI, like, all of us used to work in the salon. We were all there. Like, how are salons using this in their business?
There's so many ways that you could consider using AI in your business. Some basics. If you're like, I just want to get started and I want to think about some ways that I could use it, I would start by breaking it into categories. So thinking about how can I use it to support my sales systems? How can I use it to support my education planning, my education systems? And how can I use it to support marketing? Those are kind of some of the big buckets you could start with. So when we're talking about sales, for example, you could use AI to create retail scripts, to create customer care scripts. There's some really cool AI technologies. One of the ones that I'm a really big fan of right now is an automation called ManyChat. It's spelled M-A-N-Y chat. And it's an automation tool that you can set up connected to your Instagram to talk to your customers on social. You could also set it up with your Facebook or your WhatsApp or whatever is your main method of getting inquiries in that isn't phone or text. And it can have automated conversations with your customers. What can that lead to? More sales. You could talk about the product launches that you're focused on in your salon. You could talk about new services that you're offering. And you could do that in a way that's quite different, that looks very different from what we're used to doing, which would be sending an email or putting up a mirror talker. You could add that as a tool. And then when we talk about things like emails, you could rewrite your email scripts using AI, asking for really customized and informative and educational sort of language, or whatever really fits your brand and business. AI can help you with those things. Maybe you're doing a website update and you need some help with copy. AI can help you with those things. So that would just be in the sales category. Then we could talk about education. So maybe you want to create a new class for your guest care team. AI can create really incredible class scripts. You can give it information about your new products. For example, Aveda's got a big launch coming up around the Be Curly franchise. You could, of course, take all that information that you get from the Neil team about Be Curly, plug that into AI, and create some really cool trainings for your team around Be Curly. So that would be one way you could use it in education. Then marketing, we could have a 4-hour conversation about all the ways that you could use it in marketing. So you could use it for your content planning. You can use it for your mirror talker planning, any copy that you're writing, anything that you're going to be putting out to your customers from a marketing perspective. It's really, really great at creating ads. So if you're doing Google ads or Meta ads, those are the ads that go on Instagram and Facebook, or if you're doing an ad in your local paper, AI writes really great ad copy. What's really important is that you get good at prompting it. And it's a whole art in itself, is learning how to feed ChatGPT or Google Gemini. There's a new one called Claude that I've been playing with. You've got to get good at giving it the information that you have so that it can take that information and deliver something back that is of value. So some of the ways that you could do that is, back to what Tatum said at the top of the conversation, is act as if it is your assistant. How would you speak to your assistant? You wouldn't necessarily say, hey, assistant, write me 2 weeks of Instagram posts, without telling your assistant what the general content themes are that you're talking about in the salon every day. That's going to be important. It doesn't know how to write if you haven't given it the details of what you want it to write about. There's some other tools you could use, like with ChatGPT, and both the free and the paid version. there's a tool called custom instructions, and that's a place within ChatGPT that you can plug in all the information about your business and how you like to receive information, down to what's your values, your vision, your mission, what tone of voice do you like to use, what's your brand identity. Give it all of that information so that it's coming back to you with language that fits you, not that's just general for all of the beauty industry, for example. So that's a long answer to your question, but we could talk about all those things in a lot of detail because there's so many ways you could use it.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's good though, Andy, because I think that because it seems so like other than, I think we have this like natural tendency just to kind of avoid it, and I don't need that, you know, and we hear that. We heard that with Facebook. We heard that with Instagram. We hear that with TikTok, right? So regardless of whether or not you can imagine this happening, I think it's worth, and this is just me saying, jump ahead, get into it, like worth just opening up OpenAI's app, ChatGPT, and starting to, like Andy said, play with it, ask it some questions, and identify yourself. I'm a salon owner. I'm a hairdresser. I want to grow transactions in my business. I want to be more educated, whatever it is. Feed it the context and just see what happens. And what's really great, and not to peep too far behind the curtain, Andy, like watching you interact with it was really illuminating, because I was kind of looking at it as like the digital computer world. I have to talk to you like a computer. And I saw you not, and it's almost like you were talking to a person.
Yeah.
And you are having to tell it, hey, look, this question's for me, or this question's for someone else, just like you would talk to a human.
Totally.
And that's what was giving you better results than I was getting when I'm like, I am a robot too. Just what, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
No, when I talk to my robots, I'm like, hey girl, hey, it's me. All right, here's what I want us to work on today. Are you cool? You ready? And the robot's like, my little robot assistant's like, hey girl, I'm ready. Let's go. So, you know, like it gets used to like the way that I interact and the way that I like most of my copy. If I'm writing copy in my business, I want it to be casual and informative and educational and warm and inviting. So I'm letting the robot know that's my vibe. That's how I'm speaking to you. So please don't come back to me with that standard kind of rote language of like, we're going to unleash your education. I would never use that word. It loves that word, but it won't use it with me because I don't speak to it that way. So that is really important, that you get to a place where you're using the technology in a way that you would engage with someone who's right there in the room to help you. I also, pro tip, always tell the AI what role I want it to play. So if I'm working on some sort of sales analysis in my business, I'll plug in my information and I'll say, okay, I need you to come back to me as if you're my CFO. Or if I'm working on social content, I'll say, I want you to come back to me as if you're my social strategist or my social media manager, for example. So I think those things are really helpful. And yeah, back to Alan's question about the difference in the free and the paid models. They're changing all the time. I of course like the paid model of ChatGPT for a couple of reasons. One of the main reasons is it's able to access internet information in more, the short answer is in better real time, and it can expand with it can expand in the way that it's giving you feedback in a better and bigger way than the non-paid version. But I think the non-paid versions are great. I go back and forth between Google Gemini, which is free, and ChatGPT 3.5, which is free, and get great results out of those two. And when I want to go a bit deeper, if I'm working on something that's a bit more intensive, then I'll go over to ChatGPT 4, because I know the amount of research it's going to be able to do is going to be better. I've just started checking out Claude. Claude is using Google technology. It seems to be pretty great too. I don't have the paid version of it yet, but it's just another version of what you're getting from ChatGPT or Google Gemini. So I think pick one you want to play with to start with, to get comfortable with. And once you do that, then you can start looking at, okay, where do I get the best results for each area of the business that I'm working on?
I love that. Yeah, I use ChatGPT for like inspiration, like for writing, to help me like kind of make my writing sound a little bit better. And I like to use Gemini when I'm needing like current things, for example, like a product launch, because it knows all about our products, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'll use it for that because it is more current. Because isn't it right? Like Gemini is well, ChatGPT only goes up to 2021 with their information.
Yeah,
Yeah, so Gemini's a little
unless
bit
you're on
more current.
4,
Oh,
which
then it's
4
real
is then
fast.
using Bing technology. So
Yeah.
it's using everything you could get as if you were doing a search on Bing.
It's such an amazing resource to have. And I would love to know, Tatum, Andi, are y'all seeing stylists using AI?
Yeah, definitely. So a few fun things that Tatum and I were actually talking about the last time we were together is ways that you can use it to identify what's going on in the trend world from the consumer's point of view.
Right.
And we have this conversation a lot, that the way that consumers are understanding information about what we can do in the salons is quite different from the language that we're sometimes speaking. So a great prompt, especially for those of you that are really busy stylists that don't have a ton of time to be just scrolling TikTok all day long. Let's hope that you're so busy that you don't have time to be scrolling TikTok all day long, is to ask AI, hey, I want to know what the top trending haircuts are for spring 2024 trending on TikTok, and give me the consumer names for those. What happens then is you get great feedback from ChatGPT, for example, around, okay, what we're seeing is the wolf cut, the kitty cut, the this cut. It'll tell you exactly what the consumers are posting about on TikTok. So when someone sits in your chair, you're like, you've got this repertoire of all the things going on TikTok without having to spend a ton of time on TikTok. It's such a great way for stylists to stay very, very current. And you can also then use that same information to go create your content. If you're creating TikTok content or creating Instagram content and want to be really current and in alignment with what the consumers are looking for. I told this story when I was with the two of you at the Aveda sales yearly meeting right before Serious Business, that I just went and got a pretty big haircut at the end of the year last fall. Like I cut 8 inches of my hair.
It
I
looks
was
so
really
good.
interested.
So
Thank
good.
you. Thank you. I was looking for a very specific type of bob. I wanted an Italian bob. I was like very inspired by the White Lotus bob. So I was looking for a stylist who specializes in Italian bobs. And I found someone, searching on Instagram, found someone who in her bio, she said, I specialize in French bobs, Italian bobs. She had it all listed. And she and I were having this conversation when I walked in to sit down and have my consultation with her. She said, hey, I don't really have time to be on TikTok, but I certainly know to do research to know what types of bobs consumers are asking for right now. And I keep that fresh in my bio. And look, here you are in my chair. And I live in Los
Amazing.
Angeles. There's tons of people that are excellent at bobs. So to find someone that was keeping up with that felt really great. And that would be a great way to use AI. Tatum, I'm interested to hear what you have to say about that.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, someone just mentioned that they're using it to help create content and help them find a voice that might be different from their own, or to help them in a particular situation. But yeah, obviously, with regards to that, definitely. And I'm seeing people help, identify their social media strategy. And where I'm also seeing it is I'm seeing an emergence of AI, not ChatGPT, through Midjourney, and people actually experimenting with editorial concepts, wardrobe, actually even just interior design. You're seeing people, designers, use AI generated kitchen images to sell in concepts and ideas, and are growing and flourishing. So you're seeing it actually being leveraged as a creative tool in our space too, and other creative spaces. And I think this gives people a lot of fear and trepidation. But I think it's also important to realize that every new development in content capture creates controversy. When the camera came out, painters were like, no, this is ridiculous. This isn't art. This is a camera, right? When digital cameras came out, classic photographers were like, oh, this isn't blah, blah, blah. So if we've gotten to a place actually where Miley Cyrus was being critical of the photographers on the red carpet at the Grammys because they were using iPhones, right? There's always going to be new technology, and I think it's important to acknowledge it's new technology, and maybe it's not as good as what it was before, but it lives in its own space, and I think that it's really important to not be too afraid of it, but to really kind of lean into it and see what's there. A lot of people are fearful that AI is going to take your job. AI is not going to take your job, but someone using AI is going to take your job, right? So you might be the best French hair cutter in the world, but you aren't identifying that language and that trend and not leveraging AI to help you identify that. And because you're just choosing or just naively not using that particular language, consumers are, and you are going to lose your client, not to the AI robot, but to the human using AI to grab them. So it's really important to just at least know what's out there and try to play with it so that you're not completely caught off guard.
Yeah. It's so much fun. Well, yeah, I mean, we could talk about this forever and ever and ever. We have definitely gone over time, and I'd like to know, Andi, so we are so happy you're going to be joining us at 2 of the Neil Owners Forums in person, one in
Yep.
Dallas and one in Nashville. Dallas is April 8th, and Nashville is, don't have that date written
Sometime
down.
after April 8th.
Sometime after. Go to neil.com on the education
Yeah.
calendar. You can
Yep.
register there. Which is always a wonderful event for our owners and managers. And you're going to be there speaking about AI and really helping people to understand, feel comfortable. Is there anything else that you want to maybe give a little like sneak peek on what you're going to talk about?
Yeah, so I am coming to both of those events to Dallas, which will be during the eclipse, by the way. So I think we're going to have like a little mini eclipse party while we're there together, and then in Nashville. And I will be talking all about AI, really helping you to look at how to implement it into your business. And I will share lots of prompts, lots of tools that will be of support. We can do some practicing together. We're also going to talk about just it's a general approach to shifting the way that you are moving through challenging times. And yes, we'll use some, thanks so much.
Thanks, Kwanzaa.
Nashville's April 22nd. Thanks, Kwanzaa. So we'll be talking about, we're in challenging times, and AI is one tool, but there's a lot of really good work we can be doing on ourselves and with our teams. And I'll be bringing, I love to bring the practical tools, but I'm always about making sure we're doing some really good personal development and professional development work at the same time. So I'm bringing some of that too. So efficiencies, AI, how to get shit done, and how to just move through tough times with resilience. So we'll be talking about all of those things.
I love it. Well, yeah, I hope everyone that is watching, all the owners and managers in the room, please go to neil.com and register for the for the Neil Owners Forums, because Andi really does have a great way that she looks at things and how she coaches you in such a calm way to understand and not be scared of the robots.
Yes, I don't want you to be scared of the
I'm going
robots. And I just
to bring robots. Be terrified.
We love the robots. Yes.
Okay, Tatum. And I just dropped my Instagram handle into the chat too. I'm constantly teaching via Reels over on Instagram ways to use AI. So if you want to come over onto my page, obviously I'm on the Neil page today, but if you want to come over there, you'll see on the daily, I'm posting a new reel that's some sort of how to use either technology, how to use this type of thinking to create efficiencies in your business as artists and creatives.
Yep,
Awesome.
it's great. If you're a content creator or have ever heard of content, you should go to Andi's page.
It's so helpful. And thank you for posting all of that. Like, it's been super, super helpful.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, Andi, we look forward to seeing you at the Owners Forums, and we appreciate everyone tuning in, and we'll see y'all next time on Break Room Conversations.
Thanks for having me. Bye, you guys.
Yeah.